Well, hello. This is Rosa RCG Creations. How are you doing? I'm bringing to you a quick, not going to be overly quick, but I'm hoping it stays within my 15-minute time frame I like to give myself. We're going to be making jalapeno jelly. A lot of people call it cowboy candy. I've made this before, but I've never done a video on it. And what you do is you get jalapeno peppers. You could do serrano peppers. You can use any pepper you want. De-seed it. If you want a little bit of a spice, then leave the seeds in. And about a third of these peppers, I'm leaving the seed in. And the other ones I de-seeded because we want to be able to enjoy it. And I don't do spicy, but I don't mind a little bit of spicy, but not a whole lot of spicy. So I think I only did, I'm going to be honest with you, I think I probably only did, there were, I think 24 peppers. And they were the big long ones, and I apologize, I forgot to turn the camera on before I started chopping away. And I was like, oh, my camera, because my camera was over there on that side instead of charging instead of over here. So I apologize on that. But it's just, get whatever size peppers you got, whatever kind you want. And then you just chop them up, de-seed them, devein them. Or if you want to, leave them all whole, if you want a little bit extra more kick. So all it is basically is, I'm showing you where I have sliced them up. Okay, and I'm using this little blender instead of my big one because I knew it was in a big batch. It was not a big batch. Okay, now this we got because hubby loves to make jalapeno poppers, and where you put raw bacon around the jalapeno, then you bake it in the oven. Okay, you can sprinkle some Parmesan cheese or any cheese you want on top. And he likes those snacks. I can't handle it. It's too spicy for me. I tried to use this, but it was too much work for me. I just used the old-fashioned. I didn't have a whole lot to do anyway. I just used the old-fashioned slicing by hand. Now, this is a one-time. You definitely need gloves. I highly recommend you wear safety glasses if you don't wear glasses, because this stuff does splatter. This is going to be like my 4th or 5th time I've made it. And make sure you got a good sharp knife. I'm just moving this all the way because I'm totally done. And keep a mask close by, okay? And the reason is because of the peppers being so strong. When you take a whiff, when you open up the blender or close the blender, ooh, it's strong. Not only that, but when you go to wash your dishes, the fumes of the jalapenos are rough. They are hard. So you may want to just do it in little baby steps. But I found the last time that I made them was because during COVID, so we had the mask. So I just put my goggles on. I don't want to touch it too much because I washed them, but you just never know. I washed my gloves with soap, hand soap, dish soap, and water and stuff. And so wear your goggles and wear your mask, especially if you're blending, chopping this. Now, I didn't do it when I was chopping them, just slicing them up to get them into the blender. But for the blender on, I will. And I'm not going to do that to show you because all I'm going to do is chop them all up to little tiny little bite-sized pieces. I'm just make it like a puree, but not a total puree, but pretty much close to that. And then maybe got this in my ball book, but I got this way before I got this book. I didn't realize it was in here. But let me just give you the tidbit of the recipe. You use 12 ounces of jalapeno peppers, steamed, seeded, and deveined. Or you keep it on there, it's up to you. And like I said, I only did like maybe 5 that I left the whole thing in there. Okay, 2 cups of cider vinegar, 6 cups of sugar, 2 pouches of ball liquid pectin. Now, I know some people use the powder pectin for this stuff, but I prefer the liquid, and that's just what I'm used to, so that's what I'm going to continue to do. I do have some of the powder pectin, but I'm going to wait and save that for another project. Okay, and then, now it does here one of the tips, it does say, if you prefer a hotter jelly, take the jalapeno seeds in a square of cheesecloth, create a spice bag, add with the sugar and cook as directed. Discard the spice bag just before adding the pectin. Okay, but I've made this with the seeds and the veins, and okay, let me put it to you this way. Only reason I'm making this again, because this is a very, very potent, strong recipe, is, let me put this over here out of the way. This book is getting heavy. The only reason I'm doing this is we are totally out of it, and hubby has got quite a lot of requests for me to make some more candy because they want a jar. So, and he really enjoys it. I like it. I like to put a little bit on the side when I'm with my breakfast, and then a little bit on the side. I love to put it on a grilled piece of meat, like chicken, a pork chop, steak, whatever. Just drizzle a couple of spoons on top of that. Right as soon, just before you get ready to start cutting into it when it's on your plate. And I did try to bake with it. It did not turn out well. I don't know, something in the baking. Hubby and I both did not care for the taste or the texture. And this is the stuff that we've made over and over and over before, but I will put it as a glaze on top of a totally cooked item that's on my plate just before I get ready to slice it. But man, I'm talking about, because it's 6 cups of sugar. That's a lot of sugar. And then of course the pectin to make it thick like jelly and stuff. And it's just one of those things, either you like it or you don't. And I'm just making a small little batch this time, and we'll go from there. So you know what, I'm going to chop and blend this, but I'm not going to put on the video because this is awful noisy. All I'm going to do is puree them. That's it. And then we'll come bring it back when we get to the next phase, which more than likely will be tomorrow, because it's already late and I'm pooped. I had a busy day today. I made honey, how many jars did I make? Did you count?
No.
Okay, I did. See, 13 and 13. 13 jars of canned peaches, 13 jars of canned fruit cocktail, and 12 jars of re-canned canned chili. So 10, 20, 30. So almost like 40 jars, close to that. And I'm pooped because I've been at it since early this morning, and it's 10:30, which is way past my bedtime. So I'm just going to puree these because I want to get a head start. I'm going to leave them in the same container they're in. I'm thinking I might just leave them just the way they are and cover it. I just want to cut some of this prep tomorrow, so I won't have to do a whole lot. And we'll bring you back in that next phase. So it more than likely will be tomorrow because I'm really pooping out. So we'll bring you back to the next phase. Okay. Well, hello. This is Rose Archer Creations. How are you doing? We're bringing to you today. I made this before, but I never did a video on it. Jalapeno jelly. Another name is Cowboy candy. It's made with jalapeno peppers, apple cider vinegar, sugar, a lot of sugar, and some sugar gel. I use the liquid packages. So let's get started now. Fair warning, since I've done this many times, I've done many batches. Number one, when you get your jalapenos and you're chopping them up, wear gloves. Number two, when you open this up, don't breathe in. Wear a face mask if you think you're going to need to wear a face mask, because it will protect you. And then as you're blending, wear protective goggles if you don't wear prescription glasses, okay? Because this stuff is strong. Now, another tip. When you go to wash all of this, put your mask on, put your goggles on. The fumes, even though most of it's empty, it's strong. It will get in your lungs. It's going to burn. Ask me how I know. So do yourself a fixed favor and do all that when you're doing all the cleaning. And then after you've washed your... Now, because I'm frugal, my subscribers know I'm frugal. I wash my gloves with soap and water after each time I wash them. If they're still on my hands. And I wash them really, really well. soap and water because I want to recycle my same glove, because if there's nothing wrong with it, there's no holes in it, it's just totally fine. And I am washing them in hot water, well, as hot as I can handle, and soap. And so I'm cleaning them out. And like anything else, or you can go ahead and just throw them away and get another pair. It's totally up to you. But I'm running low, really low, and I got to place an order for some more gloves, but I just haven't done it yet. So that's just a little tip there, totally up to you. And another thing is, do your own research, do your own thing. Okay, so let's get started. So I've already done a lot of the prepping, and this is all done in a water bath canner. I am using my Ball book. It's called Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving. I got my water bath canner here, watering. I actually started this yesterday, but I already did 10, 20, 30. I did almost 42 jars of recanned canned chili, recanned canned fruit cocktail, and fruit peaches all day yesterday. Prepping and getting everything ready just wore me out and stuff. So I'm finishing it up today because this is what I'm going to do today. And then tomorrow I'm going to tackle the cranberry ketchup. So that's going to be a new one. But I'm looking forward to doing that because that's going to be a side dish to put on the side of on a dish on a meal. It's also going to coat it to put on top of your pork chops. So anyway, let's get started now. I'm going to open this up. And I'm keeping my distance. And you see all those little jalapenos in there? Grab them out of here if you want to, or just leave them right there. It's totally up to you. Oh, let me get my... You're going to get a nice heavy stock pot. And I got it this way because this water bath canner is I got the big one that Ball has at the time that I ordered it, which was years ago. And then I'm just taking... Oh, let me move you around. Sorry about that. Didn't realize you were not in frame. I'm just taking out my blades. I don't want to drop any of this goodness in here because you're going to want every little bit much of this. Okay. And I'm just scraping the peppers off. You're going to put your peppers in with a cup of vinegar, apple cider vinegar, and you're going to puree it. You can puree it extra smooth, or you could do little chunks. I personally like a little chunks. Now I don't eat this very much because I no longer can tolerate really spicy. But everyone, this is being made as a request from 5 different people who are totally out, and they're begging me to please make some more. So, and hubby is one of those 5 people. So I like to do what I can for hubby because he works hard for our family. And this is something that gives him joy, so I can sacrifice. Okay, that's close enough. Alrighty, so now I'm going to put the pureed jalapeno peppers. Oh, I forgot. I got to measure because this is the one time you definitely want to make sure you follow the recipe to the T. Make it a few times and then tweak it, and if it works out, great. If it doesn't, go back to the original recipe. And what it asks for is 12 ounces of jalapeno peppers, steam seeded and deveined. And let's see here, 2 cups of apple cider vinegar, 6 cups of sugar, 2 pouches of the liquid pectin, which is right over there sitting there. I won't eat that for a while yet. Okay, so it doesn't say... Okay, I think I have enough because I measured it. It was around 12 jalapenos. So this should be good with this. And now, oh, sorry. I gotta move it around again. Sorry about that. So now I'm just putting this in my pot. I'm going to try to get as much of the peppers out of here. And again, try not to get too close to it. And definitely don't take a big whiff because, even from this distance, I can smell it. Alrighty. Close enough for me. See that? Close enough. Let me get myself, I got a spoon here ready. Let me use my little spatula. So what would I need to do? It says in a large, deep stainless steel saucepan, or whatever it is, use whatever it is that you have. Combine the pepper puree with the remaining 1 cup of vinegar and the sugar. So it's going to be 1 more cup of vinegar, apple cider vinegar. Well, it just says cider vinegar, but apple cider is the same thing. Unless you have other different types of cider vinegar, which you might. Oh, I'm out of that one. I gotta go get another bottle. I'm gonna pause and I'll bring you back because I need some more vinegar. Okay, we're back and I'm gonna show you. I haven't stirred it yet, but there's the sugar, the peppers, and the vinegar. Okay, now you just sit here and you're gonna stir and you're gonna stir and you're gonna stir. And you want to bring it up to a boil. Okay. Once it comes to a bring it to a boil over high heat and boil, stirring constantly for about 10 minutes. Then you're going to stir in your pectin. I got my phone here because I got to save my timer. Once you stir in your pectin, you're going to boil hard again constantly for 1 minute. Then you're going to instantly remove it and you're going to put it in your jars. So it really isn't a lot of time. Oh, let me get my fan on. Sorry, it's going to be a little noisy. But this is the one time you definitely need your fan. And I've got my water boiling because this is going to be hot and you need to make sure your jars are hot. Remember, hot food, hot jars, hot canner. Cold food, cold jars, cold canner. That's the rule of thumb, whether you're water bathing or you're pressure canning. And then you're just going to stir and stir. Until all the sugar's melted. So I'm going to let that simmer for just a minute. And I'm going to get my bags ready. And the reason I'm showing you all this is because I want you to see step by step that they don't tell you in the books. Oh, let me get my timer ready. Okay, I'm ready to roll. So I'm just taking the plastic off my liquid gelatin. Liquid pectin is what it is, really. And there's 2 pouches in each box. And this recipe calls for 2 pouches. I'm almost positive. Let me double check it. Yeah, 2 pouches, each 3 ounces, which is 6 ounces. Here we go. We're good. Ball liquid pectin or Bernardin liquid pectin. And if you want to, you can add some green food coloring, but I don't think so. I've never done it because the peppers are more than enough. And while this is heating up, this is a perfect time for you to get this part prepped. So there's 1 pouch. Here's the other pouch. And then this is the time you want to cut it all the way across. Make sure you squeeze the bottom down so none of the liquid stays out there, because sometimes it happens. And you see how that's the open pouch there? Put it in something that'll keep it upright. Because this has to stay upright, because you're going to need all this goodiness. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the second pouch. And when you cut it all the way across like this, and it's ready, because you got to be quick, okay? It's ready. So see how that stands up? And this is just a container from one of my mixers. I'm going to leave it right there. This is going to go in the garbage. I'm going to put all this away, wash my dishes, and continue to stir this. Okay? Now Pectin doesn't taste too good. Let me wash my hands right quick. Then you rinse these dishes before I wash them. Woo, I'm quite a distance away, but ooh, the fumes of the pepper got me. It got me good. Okay, so it's starting to bubble. Make sure you have your recipe handy. And of course, I will put the full description of the recipe and ingredients in the description box. Whoops, my water's over boiling. Oh, and I dribbled. Whoops. Didn't turn my water off all the way. Okay. And scrape all the way to the bottom of the pan, all the time. Okay. Let me see, this water getting hot. Okay, yeah, it's getting hot. Because I need this hot water to heat up my jars. Oh, I don't have my robe on. My apron. Okay, hopefully I don't make too much of a mess. But I got this hot water. My jars are cleaned and sterile, but they need to be hot, so that's why I'm heating this water up. Let me turn this down because it's pretty hot already. I'm going to keep it on low. So that's good enough for right now. I just have enough water in this sink so all the jars they're touching hot water. Okay, so let me bring you back so you can see that. And then you just continue stirring, 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 stirring. So this really is an easy process, but try not to breathe when you're over it. Hold your breath unless you're wearing your mask. And make sure you wear your goggles, but I don't have this filled to the top because this is just one batch. So I'm good to go with this, but if it was filled further up to the top, I definitely would have my mask and my goggles on. So I'm at a good enough safe distance that I'm comfortable. And I've done this so many times. I'm comfortable with this face for right now. Okay. And this is a good time to go back and read the directions. And again, it says, in a large deep stainless steel pan, combine the peppers, puree, vinegar, and sugar. Bring to a boil on high heat, stirring constantly for 10 minutes. Then you stir your pectin. So it's not at a rapid boil. It's starting to boil, but it's not like, you want all of it, the middle part, all the insides, to be shooting out and boiling. That's when you start counting and set your timer for 10 minutes. And you stir, 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 stir. Okay? So we're not there. Let me see if I can show you. Bear with me, I'm gonna make this legs more narrow so I can see. See that around the edges? It's boiling over, but nothing's boiling over in the center. So it's not at a hard boil yet. Okay? And I'm sorry about the moving there. Okay. I would put you up here, but then I won't have room for all my stuff. I got a really small kitchen. Okay, now it's starting to boil over. And I'll show you in just a second. And I constantly stir all the way to the very bottom, all the way around. And I get my spoon, and I'm shaking off the excess liquid. Now I'm going to show you. This is starting to get into a boil. See that? Now we're going to set our timer. Okay. So let's set our timer. Let me scoot back. I've seen a couple of my videos where I was right in front of the camera. I don't want to see that. I'm too close. Okay, so I'm setting my timer, 10 minutes. Reduce your heat. If it starts to bubble up like this, reduce your heat for it to go back down a little bit. And then you can stir because you don't want to have a boil over, especially of this stuff. So just reduce your heat till all the foam comes back down. Some people remove the foam. Some people leave it in there. I try to remove the foam and then I'll save the foam in a container. I put it in a metal dish at first, which I do just before I put them in my jars. And I'll get my ladle and put it in my jars. And see how I went back down again? Look at that. You see the edges of the pan? How it went back down again because I just turned down the heat, but it's still at a rapid boil. I'm sorry. I keep on moving you back and forth. I apologize. And there's the boil there. It's boiling over. And I turned it down all the way to a 7. Let's go back up to an 8 because this needs to remain at a rapid boil. And scrape the sides of it. That's a bunch of goodiness there. That's just the foam where it got too hot. And I'm turning on the heat on my water. And I'm going to add a little bit more water to my water bath canner. And I just put it with a chipper, a pitcher, excuse me, because I don't have an extra, I don't have a over the stove water faucet. And when I put the cold water in here, it's going to cool it down, and we need it to stay hot. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this back up. I'm going to put it back to like an 8. I'm going to get some more of my hot water and put it in my jars to make sure that they're nice and hot. Because once I put the cold water in here, it's going to cool it down big time. And I've got about maybe 7 minutes left, so I still have plenty of time. I can do what I'm doing. Always keep an eye on your pot, because you don't want it to start to foam over again on you. Okay, so now let me add my cold water in, because in a water bath canner, you need to be 1 inch above the jars in the canner to water bath properly. Okay, so this is still going pretty good. I'm going to have to stir it in just a minute, but let me get this little pitcher of water. This is the one time I wish I had two stoves, 2 sinks, and a lot bigger canner. Okay, I'm going to put my lid back on, because I want the heat to get back in there pretty quickly. Let's stir this some more. And I'm getting some of the liquid, bringing it up with my spoon on my pot. Okay. Read my directions one more time just to make sure. Bring to a boil over, high heat and boil, stirring constantly for 10 minutes. Then we're going to stir the pectin. And you're going to boil hard, stirring constantly for 1 minute. Then we're going to take it off the heat. Okay. Then I get my pot holders ready. Okay, where did my little red... Oh, where did they go? I got to find out what hubby did with my red pot holders. Oh. They were in the formal dining room where I was cooling off my jars from yesterday, from last night, of my, oh, I don't need this measuring cup no more. That can go in there. And I will tell you, you're going to sweat when you're doing this because it's hot, 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 hot. But maybe I'll lose by maybe 2 pounds. I'm not exercising, I'm just stir. Well, my arm's getting a good workout. And remember, stir all the way around the bottom of the pot. Scrape the bottom. You want to make sure everything gets moving, moving, moving. And after a while, the steam gets hot on your fingers. And I'm going to move my cookbook over. Okay, I've got get my hot plates ready for when that pot comes over here. Let me get my towel ready for my jars because I like to make sure my jars are next to where I'm pouring. I've got my jar lifter. And I got my, what do you call that? My canning funnel. And then I got my, this is how you measure your jars for the headspace. It says we give it I think it's 1 inch. Or is it a ½ inch? Let's see. It's a 1/4 inch headspace. Which 1/4 inch is really close to the top, but I never like to put any of my jars, fill them all the way that high. That's just me. We got 2 more minutes. And man, this is hot. This is hot on my hand. I need some gloves in my hand. Okay, so I'm going to bring you back when we get to pouring the jars, because right now all I'm going to do is just pour. Then I'm going to pour my Pectin in. Wait a minute. Take the heat off, turn the burner off, move this over to my island on my hot plates, and then start ladling my jars. So we'll bring you back when we get to that phase. Okay, now we're totally done. We put the Pectin in, waited a full solid minute. My jars are hot. Hot, 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 hot. Whew, they're not excruciating hot, but they're very warm. The biggest thing is you want them to be warm, and I'm using some little ones. Ooh, that one's hot. And then I'm using some of these. And I need some more hot water in here because they're not hot enough for my taste, because I don't want, if you don't put the right temperature when you put your hot item in, you can crack your jar. You may not see it until it's in the canner. So I'm wanting to make sure that all my jars that I'm going to be using are pretty hot. Put my lid back on. Oops, it's not on all the way. Okay, now I'm just going to ladle. I'm just going to do a little bit because I want to put some hot sauce, hot jelly in there before my jar cools down. I'm going to grab myself another jar. I'm going to do another one, and then I'm going to finish the rest off the camera, and then I'll bring you back to the finished project, which will be tomorrow. Okay, but this is actually, as you can see, it's fairly easy. It doesn't really take a whole lot of time, and not a lot of prep time other than chopping the peppers up. But if you just slice the peppers at the very end of it, the part with the little stem, cut that off, put the whole pepper inside your blender, depending on how big your blender is, food processor, whatever it is that you have. But then put in your 1 cup of apple cider vinegar and then pulse it and then tops it up, and that's it, you're done. So that really didn't take long. The rest was just waiting for it to boil, and that didn't take that long. Okay, so we'll bring you back, okay? Okay, we are back. I got the 10 minutes is up. I'm getting them out of got my jar lifter, and I'm getting them out of the canner. There's going to be water on top of the lids, but that's okay because they will evaporate in just a few seconds. Sometimes they evaporate before even you get done emptying all your jars out of the canner. So I'm very pleased. Everything worked out great. Let me bring you in. Bear with me for the bump. There's no siphoning, clear water. Oops, I don't want to get no fog. And look, there are, let me turn this around so I can see. There's all my jars. I ended up getting 2, 4, 6, I got 8 half pints and 1/4 pint, because these are half pints. And then the little small one back there, see that? So, pretty good process. Let me see, can you see it simmering? See how it's all bubbling? See right there? See how it's still bubbling? Because it's hot. You want to leave them here overnight. 12 to 24 hours. Let me bring you back. Oh, bear with me. Sorry. One of these days I'll have 2 cameras. And I'll be able to do all this like those other ones do. Other YouTubers do. But anyway, I'm pooped. I'm hot. I've washed my dishes. Put everything over. They're in the dish drain. I'm not going to dry and put them away. I'm going to let them dry naturally because I'm exhausted. I got to cool down because I am dripping sweat. But I did get all my extra jars dried and put away for the next canning session, which will be tomorrow night, which I'm going to be making some cranberry ketchup. So, first time doing that. Never even eaten it before, never tasted it, but I like cranberries. And I'm doing it mainly to put over cooked meat as an enhancement of the flavor of the chicken, the beef, or whatever, roast, whatever it is that you're making, just as an added flavor. Gonna let this totally cool off. Wash my, this is a lifter, a jar lifter. It sits right here. I like it because it sits right here. It came with the canner. It sits right here, then when you're ready, you put it in, and with all the jars, you put it in and out. So, let me go ahead and take this out. I'm going to let that cool off. I'm going to drain this water, let it cool off. Then I'm going to get some soapy water tomorrow morning and wash this whole thing out. And then put it away. Well, actually, I'm not going to put it away. I'm going to leave it here because tomorrow I got another session to make. Because summer's coming. It's almost here. It's May. And I'm going to be doing a lot of water bath and pressure canning to get all my fruits and my veggies and stuff put away. I don't have a garden, but I do go to farmers markets. And whenever there's a good price, I double or triple depending on what it is, and making sure that I have plenty of storage space. So we thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next video. I'll do just a photo at the very end of the completed jars, but pretty much they're exactly what you see right here. That's it. That's all it is. And then double check to make sure that they all sealed. Sorry, I'm hunching over because my back is killing me. And make sure that they're all sealed. I did have this much left over. It was not enough to process, so I'm letting this, actually it's cooled down. And these are one of my ball lids. It actually has, it's for pouring out, but I'm out of my other lids. I gotta order more. And this, I personally like to put the plastic lid. It doesn't have to be ball. Get some at Walmart. They're white and they're inexpensive. Now be careful because not all of them always fit your jars. Okay, even though they're all supposed to be the same size, it's inexpensive brand, and it's kind of like you get what you pay for. But 90% of them really work very well, and I've had them for several years and they still work great. But I use them to keep them in the refrigerator. So I personally don't like to keep metal rings and lids in a jar in the fridge, because that is moisture, and moisture is bad for metal lids and rings, and it rusts them a lot sooner, so they're going to turn older a lot sooner than they really need to be. So I try to save my lid and my rings strictly for canning, and then once I've opened them, I wash them and I use them for dehydrating when I'm putting things away that I dehydrated. So anyway, that's just a little tip. Thank you so much. And then here's a little sneak peek of my jalapeno jelly. Another name is Cowboy candy. We thank you so much. We catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.